If you've ever wondered why every single person hates Angel Hernandez despite his 31 years of being an MLB umpire, well, here's why. You see, many people believe baseball would have been way better off without Angel. The guy really sucked at being an umpire every season. You'd probably think with all his experience, Angel would be a pro, but nope. He's like that one kid in school who never learns, no matter how many times you explain it. But somehow, someway, this guy still had a job for 3 long decades. Right from the beginning of his career until he retired in May 2024 by himself. Angel started his umpiring career in the Florida State League back in 1981, where he was making a measly $900 a month. Fast forward to 1991, and he finally made it to the major leagues. Then he umpired in 2 World Series and 3 All-Star games. Sounds like he was living the dream, but hang on a sec, because really, that's where the good news ends. The thing is, Angel made a truckload of bad calls throughout his career, and his bad calls weren't just annoying, they were game changers. Back in 1998, Angel made a call so bad in a Mets-Braves game that it's still talked about today. Right before the All-Star break, Angel called Michael Tucker safe at home plate, but the replays turned out different. They showed Mike Piazza clearly tagging the guy out. Piazza said it was the worst call he'd ever seen. All of the Mets were pissed, and for good reason. You see, they were so close to making the playoffs that year. Every little thing mattered. In the end, they finished 88-74, missing the playoffs by just 1 game. That blown call, it stung even more looking back, knowing how close they came. Angel practically gift-wrapped a win for the Braves against the Mets with that shocking call at home plate. Now, you'd think he'd change after this, but there's even more to come. In 2001, Angel pissed off a former NFL player so much that the guy threatened him over the stadium PA system. On that day, the Rockies were playing the Cubs, and both teams were getting mad at Angel's calls behind the plate. His strike zone was like all over the place. Things really heated up in the 6th inning when Angel called Ron Coomer out at home. It would have tied the game, but replays showed Coomer was totally safe. Now, here's where it gets very wild. Steve McMichael, the Chicago Bears legend, was in the booth to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," but instead of just singing, he decides to take a shot at Angel. He goes, "I'll speak to the home plate umpire after the game," and the crowd goes gaga. Then he blows Angel a kiss. At first, people were saying Angel had McMichael kicked out. Yeah, well, it was possible. Then umpires had the power to toss fans out. But later, Angel and the crew chief, Randy Marsh, came out and claimed that wasn't true. McMichael never actually got the boot, but the hits just kept on coming again and again. He made 2013 even more interesting by calling a clear home run a double. Then Oakland's Adam Rosales had hit what seemed like a game-tying homer in the 9th inning against Cleveland. The ball bounced off something in deep left center field, and Adam Rosales ended up on second base. Adam's manager, Bob Melvin, immediately asked for a video review. Now, this was like the 6th season of video review in baseball, and it usually works well. Both teams' broadcasters watching the replay thought it was clearly a home run, but surprisingly, Angel and his crew still called it a double after review. One can't help but wonder what might have gone wrong with him in the review booth. Poor vision, maybe? Well, this didn't quite help Angel's already poor reputation as an umpire. Dude had fans wondering if he was watching the same game as everyone else. It was like watching your grumpy old uncle argue that the earth is flat at Thanksgiving dinner. Cringeworthy, but you can't look away. But that's not even the worst. In 2017, Angel decided to spice things up by suing the MLB for racial discrimination. He claimed MLB was biased against minority umpires for top jobs, while stating he hadn't worked a World Series since 2005 and was passed over for crew chief multiple times. Of course, he lost. I mean, it's pretty obvious he wasn't getting jobs because he was terrible at his job, not because he was Latino. When Angel lost his original lawsuit in 2021, he still appealed. And in 2023, federal judges denied his appeal, commenting that he couldn't prove his claims. The court also rejected Angel's claim that Joe Torre, a former MLB executive, was biased against him. They said Angel didn't show Torre had any bias against minorities. You might think after all this drama, Angel might want to lay low, but nope. In the 2018 playoffs between Yankees and Red Sox, he messed up big time. He blew 3 calls at first base in 1 game. They had to overturn them all with replay. That's like getting a 0% on a test, obviously failing. After the game, the MLB was like, "Oh, they were close calls." calls. A good thing we got instant replays to get them right in the end, but Hall of Famer Pedro Martinez wasn't having it. He goes on TV and says Angel was horrible. Don't get me going on Angel now. MLB needs to do something about Angel. Doesn't matter how many times he sues MLB, he's as bad as there is. And trust me, the saga doesn't even end there. In 2021, Angel admitted to guessing on a big play because the scoreboard got in his way. 2 years later, after missing part of the season due to medical issues, Angel came back and immediately blew 23 calls in a single game. Yeah, you heard me right, 23. Most people don't even make that many mistakes in a month. He went on to mess up big time in 2 games, missing 15 calls each time. One was a Marlins-Yankees game in August 2023, the other a Pirates-Nationals game in September 2023. The Pirates-Nationals game was the worst umpiring in 5 years when it comes to getting strikes right. But that's not even everything. He kicked Bryce Harper, the Phillies' first baseman, out of a game in late September of the same year. Harper was mad about a check swing call, and Angel asked him to watch the replay to see he was wrong. Turns out, the replay showed Harper was very right to be upset. But dude didn't stop there. Just this spring, Angel ejected Lance Lynn twice in one game, once from the mound, then again from the bullpen, in a spring training game. Angel's been voted the worst umpire by players multiple times. You can't make this stuff up. The guy's like a magnet for controversy. So why he was still employed until his voluntary retirement in 2024 remains one big puzzle. Your guess is as good as mine. He's probably got some dirt on the MLB, or the umpires union has negotiated contracts tighter than a new baseball glove. Because heck, players hate him, managers hate him, fans hate him, even the scoreboards got beef with him. This whole mess got everyone talking about robot umpires. Supporters said it would eliminate human error and bias. No more worrying about an umpire's bruised ego affecting the strike zone. But not everyone was on board with the robot revolution. Some argued it would take away the human element of the game. No more dramatic arguments between managers and umpires. Where would be the fun? MLB was in a tough spot. They made some changes, like expanding instant replay, but the umpires union kept fighting tooth and nail against anything that might threaten their members' job security. And behind the scenes, MLB tried to address the Angel problem. They quietly demoted him and supposedly assigned him to small games. But it's like putting a band-aid on a broken arm. It never really solves the problem. As fans got more and more frustrated with Angel, and with giant improvements in technology, MLB was left at a crossroads. Were they to stick with tradition and hope umpires like Angel miraculously improve, or do they embrace the future and let Siri call the shots? Well, as the heat got really hotter, Angel Hernandez suddenly appeared on May 27, 2024, and ended his wild career, stating he was retiring to spend more time with his family. The news was welcomed with loud rejoicing everywhere. Fans, players, managers, every single person was over the roof. Predictably, there wasn't one compliment. Not one heartfelt farewell. Angel hurt everybody. We all love baseball and we want to see the game called fairly. But with Angel, it was like rolling the dice every time he was on the field. No one ever knew what bizarre call he was gonna make next. But looking on the bright side, Angel Hernandez at least gave us all something to unite against: universal frustration.